Welcome back, my loyal citizens of Ottawa. GM Yeesh here, and we are up at the year 2 re-sign phase after what I'd call a pretty successful year 2 NHL entry draft. We didn't land that franchise talent Lafreniere, but we still managed to acquire that high-end number one center with a fantastic two-way game and leadership quantities in Quinton Byfield, and you guys seem to appreciate the pick as well. Analyst 6th or 7th writes, psyched for Byfield. How many wins do you think the boys can realistically get this season? So realistically, I'd say 35 between 37 right now, which is a 14-win improvement over last season, just because there are so many unknown factors. The locker room, morale, chemistry, two largely unproven goalies in Saros and Gustafsson. Will Byfield even make the team? How much will everyone grow over the offseason? What kind of impact will Brandy and Norris have? Too many unknowns to know for sure one way or the other right now. But with a strong offseason, we can definitely improve those odds, right, of us contending for a playoff spot here in year 3. Now, we need to shift our attention to re-signing Chabot and Trouba, but first I put a question to you boys last video about buying out Bobby Ryan, and you guys were actually against it. Have a look, boys. I don't think you should buy out Bobby Ryan yet until you know for sure you can get over the cap floor, as he'll be a useful player to bring you up by over $7 million. Now, this is a good point, and analyst Heel Feza expands on it by saying, I would say there is no point in buying out Ryan. His dollars won't be utilized right away anyway, as you are on a cap team. Doing a buyout will just double the years on the reduced cap hit, and I would say having more years on the cap would be more detrimental than saving the cap space short term. So my proposal is to give him a tryout to be a positive leader playing bottom 6 minutes at the start of the season, but if he becomes a locker room cancer at any time, ship him to the AHL to keep him away from the locker room and let him ride the bus for $7+ million. I'm glad you enjoy the content, man. Let me know how you like 19. And I agree that we don't need the money, right? We'll never be a cap team in the first place. But the problem is that there's just no room in our lineup for him. If he's not playing in the top 6, then he's going to be on the 3rd or 4th line. And we want our 3rd and 4th lines to be defensive simply because we don't have the forward depth to outscore other teams' 3rd and 4th lines, right? And Bobby Ryan clearly isn't a defensive player. But Vin Sr. also makes a good point that we need to hit the cap floor rather, especially since Gabrick and Back is both retired this season. That's about $11 million off the books right there. So you know what, boys? With Gabrick and Back is retiring, this insanely young team needing a veteran presence, and the fact that I will always love him for that sick overtime winner he had against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Bobby Ryan won't be getting bought out, and I plan to work with him all off season in an effort to get him back up to form. So hopefully we have some good results there. Now that we have all that out of the way, let's focus on re-signing the current core of the team in Wolanin, Trouba, and Chabot. They're all players I want to lock up long term. Chabot, obviously, that number one defenseman. I want to get him 8 years. Trouba, a right-handed shot that can play top 2 minutes. And Wolanin is an underrated stud. He has 4.5-star defensive categories. He's a 5-star physicality, and he was 5th in the entire NHL for hits amongst defensemen in his rookie season. He brings an ultra-physical style of play that's heavy shutdown, and we can have him play with Branny, who complements him by being that super offensive guy, right? So they work well together. So he's someone I want to get locked up. Perfect. I need him at under $4 million. If the way I have this team structured salary-wise is going to be make any sense down the line. He wants 4 years at 3.933, and that works out perfectly for us because we have guys like Fitzpatrick, Malikov, who could be ready to go in a couple years if he's asking for too much down the line. So 4 years makes perfect sense. Very nice. I'll go ahead. Norris could be a wild card. I'll show you boys why in a second. I want to give him a 1-year show me deal. He will be playing in the NHL this season. There we go. So he had 70 points in the AHL this season and 327 shots. So he likes to take a ton of shots. The problem is, which should be a good thing, but he has a very low shooting category. So if he's taking all those shots, that means other players on his line aren't getting the shots, right? So he's either going to be that absolute stud that tears it up, like 10% shooting with his clip is like 30 goals a season, right? So he's either going to be an absolute stud or we're going to have to trade him down the line to help our team move as a unit better. Balsers, I will give him a 2-year deal. Might have to trade him if he's one of those players where it's like, I want to keep him, but if the team is suffering because he's not helping it, then I will move him. So Balsers, give him a 2-year deal. Trouba. Okay, he wants 5 million. I need Trouba to come in at under 5 million, boys. It just has to happen. So I'm going to qualify him as an RFA. And don't worry about offer sheets, boys. I talked with Melnick about this. We are readily prepared to match any offer sheet that comes our way. But with all the cap space we have, I don't think any team would even dare try it, right? Imagine what happens when their RFAs are up. And we have all this cap space. Oh, we can make their life living hell. Wow. So I needed Shabbat at under 8 million, and he's willing to take a huge pay cut to play long term with your Ottawa Senators, boys. This is huge. We can get Shabbat locked up for this team until he's 31 at only 6.4 million. That's an insane steal. I'm doing that and not looking back. There we go. So that's the wow. Shabbat might that's a serious case for the captaincy right there, boys. I don't know about you, but he just took a huge pay cut to play on a team that had a very, very rough season. I will try and re-sign Yurko. 1 year. I'll give him the max. Help us hit that floor. Peter Holland, I remember from last video, yeah, he has low locker room chemistry with a lot of our prospects, so I will go ahead and release him. Barbario is unhappy. Release Greiba. I want to try and bring back Camphor if I can. There we go. MacArthur, he doesn't want to come back. Rinson, bring him back. Pajot. I would have liked to bring Pajot back, boys, but he clearly wants out. I feel bad. He's upset, unhappy. I think it's time to part ways with the organization. Thank you for all your service for this team and this organization, Pajot. You've been an absolute warrior for us, and best of luck to you in your future endeavors. Mahler, go ahead and give him a 2-year deal. There we go. Just try and help that hit that cap floor. He'll probably be an AHL scorer for us, boys, but if he resigns at all. Goalies. So Joey Drackard. I need a starting goalie in the AHL. Huh? Yeah, his numbers were good. His overall isn't the greatest, but his numbers were good. I will give him a 1-year deal, and it'll be his net to lose because he will be playing in front of this Russian goalie who we're going to bring over. There we go. UFA goalies. It's Anderson and Condon. Yeah, okay. So Anderson, I could bring him onto the team as an AHL starter, but I feel like that'd be disrespectful to all he's done for us, right? And there's no room for him to be the backup this season. I don't want to carry 3 goalies, so I will go ahead and release him. Thank you so much for everything you've done, Anderson. Been an absolute honor having you in this organization, and we wish you and your wife, Nicole, the absolute best going forward. Condon, go ahead and release him as well. I gave that nice speech for Anderson. It was just like, oh yeah, see ya, Condon. Condon's a good guy. Absolute sucks that we had to trade him in real life. That was a brutal trade. Or it wasn't the fact that it was a brutal trade. It was just that why couldn't we have taken on Marlowe's instead? Just Melnick trying to save a quick buck. It's ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. So Byfield, there we go. Could have gotten assets back. Instead, we just swap bad contracts. Ridiculous what he's doing. I think Dorion's got to put his foot down a bit. I don't know. Like, at some point, you have to go to him and say, hey, we need assets. At some point, Melnick, you got to start caring about the team. This will make us better down the line. We need you to invest in it. Just the way I see it, clearly a lot of other things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. So I'll go ahead and advance a day. Make sure everyone... Oh, that's right. David Backus is a... I believe, yeah, David Backus is a scout, boys. I'm going to go ahead and offer him a scouting contract. Don't worry about the budget. We got a lot of scouts about to expire, so I'll go ahead and fire the ones with the expiring contracts, bring us back down. Our scouting budget actually decreased, so Camphor, yeah, he rejected. That's fine. Shabbat accepted. That's huge. Balsers, very nice. Wolanin. So the only question mark right now is Trouba. Backus based. We'll be able to have him scout out all the future talent for the league. Love to see it. The only question mark right now is Trouba, and I will focus on re-signing him. We have to get him at under 5 million, boys. That's the what do you call it? Okay, actually, okay, Truba wants 4 years at 4.875. So let me go ahead and do some power video editing, boys, to make some other free agent signings. I have some names in mind. Let me go ahead and do all the scouting on that, get their stats organized and out of the way, and then we'll get to Truba, and hopefully we'll be able to get to the start of the season and maybe play a couple games. I don't want the video time to run too long, so let's go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, boys. Found the free agents I wanted, but first things first, we got to lock Truba up. I'm going to give him 5 years at $5 million per season. The reason for this is that I don't want him expiring at the same time as Wolanin. $5 million is the highest I was willing to go, and Truba was like, all right, that's fair for me. He's set out a year. He just wants to play. I could have signed him long term at like 5.1 or 5 million, but he'd be on the wrong side at 30 at that point. Oops. Let me just go ahead and draw that back up. There we go. I feel like 5 years is plenty of time to help us win a cup. And over that time, we should be able to draft and develop Truba's replacement or re-sign him if he's really that good, right? So 5 years, 5.5 until he's 31. Very nice. Get that done. The next signing is going to be Trevor Van Riemsdyk. We need 2 more defensemen for that bottom pairing. Don't be fooled by the 75 overall. He's very responsible defensively, very disciplined, and he was underplayed on Carolina the last 2 seasons. So his overall will jump back up to a 79 or 80 once the season starts. 1.8 million is very reasonable, and we'll be able to give him PK minutes so that he doesn't get upset. The last defenseman signing, where is he? Here he is, Nick Holden. Again, another guy who's responsible defensively, who hopefully doesn't take too many penalties. I'll go ahead and give him a 1-year deal at 1.8 million, same as Trevor Van Riemsdyk. There we go. And up at forward, it'd be really nice if we could get one of these. I used to think the computers are like idiots and just couldn't manage their cap, but this seems to be the recent trend in real life too. These RFAs holding out, man. It'd be nice if we could get that stud second line center. There's a ton of them this season. Pavelski or Thornton, that would also be sick. But remember, no one above 83 overall. So we're going to go for defensively sound guys like, where is he? Oh, I should sort by centers. Just make this way easier on myself. Koivu, no. Here he is, Cody Eakin. Defensively responsible guy. He can play anywhere in the lineup. I'm hoping he can hold down the top 6 until Norris or Byfield proves they're ready for those minutes. 2 years at 1.8 million won't be a bad contract for us at all. At the very worst, he'll be a fantastic 4th liner. So go ahead and offer him that. And the final signing is going to be, where is he? Here he is, Jonas Donskoy. 2 years at 2.7 million. And the reason I like Donskoy so much is because not only can he play anywhere in our lineup, but he's a playmaker, right? So we can play him with Norris. He won't remember. Norris shoots a ton. Donskoy doesn't shoot a lot at all. He's a pure passer. So if Norris takes away shots from Donskoy, that might not hurt so much, and they can build some chemistry through that. And if we get an injury, hopefully Donskoy can jump up in the lineup and at least hold it down, right? Depth is going to be key if we want to make a playoff push. I already offered some guys some AHL deals. That's why you see 9 contracts offered. I'll go ahead and simulate ahead a few days here. We might need to make a trade to take on some dead cap or an actual trade to improve the roster. I didn't see any when I scouted, but that could change. As much as I'd love to sign with your team, the chemistry in the locker room is a huge deterrent. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. I like the idea that I'm likely to be a go-to man for your team. Yeah, Donskoy gets it. Okay, no one wants to sign with us because our locker room was a mess. Hey, all right, Eakin. So, okay, and Trouba signs. So all the players besides TVR, all the NHL guys we wanted signed. So I'll go ahead and offer TVR a little more money. I'm willing to go up as high as 2 million. There we go. Hopefully get him signed. We have $29 million in cap space, so we're about 9 to 6 million above the floor. I might do some power video editing, boys, to try and figure out, what trades we need to make to hit the cap floor, just because that could take a while, and I don't see anyone It has been confirmed by multiple sources close to the Jets that Nikolai Ehlers has demanded to be traded. What up, Winnipeg? Gave us a right-handed shooting defenseman. You trying to give us a top 6 winger this season? What's going on here? Interesting. So, Ehlers has gone and demanded a trade. No, he hasn't. Has he? He'd be on their trade block if he demanded. Okay. This is weird, boys. I gotta simulate ahead a couple days here. Forget the power of video editing. This is interesting. We're gonna follow this story closely. I want to simulate a couple days ahead here, see if he's going to be put on the trading block. Ooh, a meeting. Donskoy. I hope to join the list of successful free agent signings. You won't regret signing me. I'll just go ahead and give him demanding. Yeah. Very nice. So at least he seems to be on the same page as everyone else. Hopefully Trevor Van Riemsdyk signs. There we go. Did he just say he was excited to join our team, and for someone who seemed like they were destined for a good run in the playoffs? Well, I don't know about that, but whatever brings you over, I guess. All right, let's go back over to Winnipeg, boys. This is very interesting. Is he on their trade block? Because that's huge. The value goes way down if people go on the trade block. So Ehlers is not on the trade block right now. I didn't read that message wrong. It was Ehlers, right? Who was put on the trade block. I need to monitor this analyst dude more closely. Bob McKenzie. All right. Let's see here. So, message center. Would it be not player pick and trading? A bunch of signings. Ton of signings. I think. Yeah. It has been confirmed by multiple sources close to the Jets that Nikolai Ehlers has demanded to be traded away from the franchise. Interesting. And Sam Steele and Vincent Trocheck. Okay. So there's a lot of players requesting for trades here. So what I'm going to do, boys, is I will simulate ahead a couple weeks, and hopefully the teams put them, like normally when a player requests for a trade, they will put them on their trading block, and that significantly lowers their value. So I will go ahead, do some power video editing, simulate ahead a couple of weeks here, and hopefully we can get a trade drawn up, right? Help us hit the cap floor and improve our team for the current season and long term. That could be 3 huge check marks off our list right there. So let me go ahead and do that, boys, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we're up at the 23rd of August. The Jets finally put Ehlers on the trade block, and roughly this is what it's going to take to acquire him, and it is a steep price. They want Axel Anderson, the medium top 4 right-handed shooting defenseman prospect. They want Balsers. 2 seconds, both from this year, and it's probably going to take a 4th from either this year or next. I drew this up without it, and it looks like they want a sweetener, so it's going to be a 4th. I don't want to give up. I'm already giving up 2 picks from this year. I don't want to give a 3rd, so I'm going to give up a pick from next year. This is a steep price, boys, and I found myself thinking, is it even worth it, right? There's no guarantee this puts us over the top or gets us to the playoffs, right? Those second-round picks could be early seconds, insanely valuable assets for the rebuild. But you know what, boys? We've been dead last in the NHL for the past 2 years, and we finished second last the year before that. I'm sick and tired of losing. We're the butt end of every joke in the NHL. Everyone just feels sorry for us. I'm sick and tired of it. I want to go out there and I want to ice a competitive team. I want people to start respecting us. And this trade makes sense. Like, no matter how I look at it, he fits our lineup perfectly. We know he's played left wing before in real life, so I believe I can move him to the left wing if need be. He's a pure playmaker. He's super fast. He's also upset right now, so he's higher than 81 overall. He's probably at least 84, 85, and he'll be that at the start of the season. He doesn't hit, but he's also a pure playmaker, right? And if we have him and Batherson, who's another pure playmaker, playing alongside of Josh Norris, then you have all of a sudden Josh Norris taking those 300 plus shots isn't that big of a deal anymore because they don't shoot anyway. And even if it's not the case that Norris, right, I'm not going to put all my eggs in the dark horse Norris. So even if that's not the case, we still have this ace in the hole right here, Jason Guerin, a right wing sniper who loves to shoot. He has a fantastic shot, and he will be NHL ready at some point this season. It might not be till January or February, but long term, it makes sense to have Ehlers, and I'll be able to lock up Brady Tkachuk because he won't have to be the number 2 guy, right? We can always slide him in and out with Ehlers in the top 6. So I think this trade makes sense, boys. I know this is a steep price to pay, but I want to ice a competitive team. I'm sick and tired of losing. I think this improves us for the future as well as the current time. He has plenty of term left, 5 years at $6 million, very reasonable price. We're getting the 5 best years of his career here, so I feel like this is a trade that makes perfect sense. I'm going to go ahead and go for it, boys. Hopefully it's not too steep of a price. Trade accepted. I'm happy to accept this proposal on behalf of the Winnipeg Jets, and we consider it a done deal. Okay, now we have one more trade to make, and it's going to be a minor trade with the New York Rangers. Defenseman, here we are, this guy right here, Ben Smith. Go ahead and give them, who was it? Ehlers wants to talk, so I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, Klimchuk, there we go. So, there we go. That's just to help us hit the cap floor. Alright, Ehlers, what do you want to talk about, buddy? Where is he? Ehlers, here he is. What do you have for us? Glad to join the team. I'll make sure this trade looks good for you. The old Halifax Moosehead boys joining your Ottawa Senators here for the year 3 push. So there we go. Alright, so he likes to be motivated from the sound of it. I know, boys, I gave up a lot. It was a steep price to pay, but I felt it was a trade worth making. If you guys think I overpaid or I'm trying to make us a competitive team way too early, let me know. I feel like that was a trade that needed to be made for the future. And here's another move. I want to get Brady Tkachuk locked up long term for 6 years at 4.8 is a very reasonable asking price, and he might still be an RFA at the end of that, so we'll retain his rights. The reason I couldn't do that before is because without Ehlers, maybe Brady Tkachuk isn't the guy for the team, right? Maybe we don't need that power forward in the top 6, but now he can slide anywhere between the first, second, or third line, and we'll have someone to replace him, take some pressure off of him, so I'm perfectly fine with that asking price. I'm going to go ahead, do some power video editing, boys, get up to the start of preseason, and get the lines figured out, and we might stop the video there depending on the runtime. I know this video has been going on. I'm very excited for the start of the season, so I'll go ahead and get up to there. Alrighty, boys. I haven't been this optimistic about a season since I first got here in Ottawa. The assistant coach, right? He doesn't have fog of war on. He put Josh Norris and Drake Batherson in front of Brady Tkachuk and Nikolai Ehlers and Logan Brown. This is huge. That could mean, now maybe I'm just reading into things, boys. That's very possible, but it could definitely mean he either thinks they are elite with their puck skills and offensive awareness stats, or they grew a ton over the offseason, and all of a sudden, boys, take a look at this. Like, look at this. You have DeAndre Sanford, right? 40 goal scorer. He had 34 in his rookie season on the second line with no help. I'd say 40 goal scorer, like, it's attainable, right? We have Nikolai Ehlers, 20 goal, 50 point man. Brady Tkachuk, 15 goal, 45 point guy. Drake Batherson, Josh Norris, if he can score 20, right? Duclair's a 20 and 20 guy. Donskoy can get you 40 points a season. And this fourth line right here, it has some offense, right? Simmons is a good player. Eakin can shut teams down. Logan Brown. Now the big question marks are Quinton Byfield, right? And maybe how well Bobby Ryan simulates on the fourth line. But the whole thing I was worried about was the second line. And if Josh Norris, I have the line set up so that they can uncover the prospects in preseason. But if Josh Norris can be the second line center, this is a playoff level top 6, boys. 100%. Look at that. You have 86, 83, 83, 85, 80. But if he plays like a 20 goal, 50 point scorer, so we'll say like 83, and then an 85, right? The way I see it, that's a top 6 playoff team. Now, it might not be elite, but it's insanely young and has plenty of room to grow, and it'll only get better as the season progresses, right? So I'm insanely stoked about that, and this decor is already like borderline elite. You have a number 1 in Shabbat. Trouba is up there at an 86 overall, or maybe 85. It really doesn't matter. Wolanin seems to be one of the best shutdown defensemen in the league. Branny, I mean, his offensive stats are already elite. Like, the biggest question marks are goaltending. Can Saros who's posted fantastic numbers so far, right? He's had a couple stints in the NHL. All his numbers look sparkling, especially last season. And Gustafsson be that 1A, 1B duo that we need to get us to the playoffs. Both of them, fantastic stats in the minors. They're huge question marks, but I like what I'm seeing, boys. I think we can make a run at the playoffs. Now, the video's been going on for a while, so we won't do any simulating in this one. I need to make some AHL signings as well, because no one wants to touch our AHL team, because the NHL team's chemistry was so bad last season. So I got to figure that out. And there's a couple other things that need to be done in preparation for the start of the season, boys. So I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. But let me know what you thought about that trade, boys. It was insanely risky. Maybe it was pretentious of me to assume that we could field a competitive roster after barely eclipsing the 20-win mark. But I'm sick and tired of losing, boys. The rebuild's been going on long enough. That trade improves our team now and improves it for the future. I felt like it was the right move to make. He fits the role, the style of play we want our team to do, right? Let me know what you thought about the trade, boys, and I will see you all in the next episode.